Donald Trump said on the issue of gay marriage,
not a fan of any of that.
Donald
Trump someone who's further right.
Trans people have to have M and F on their passport. So now most trans people cannot go internationally anywhere where they don't appear as like an M on their passport.
And
that's just not, that's dangerous for trans people. If you want to do, I'm running into this with a friend right now who tries to do war correspondence in countries that don't like trans people. She, in every way, is a woman. Nobody would look at her and think that that person should walk into a male bathroom. But because she's trans, she has an M on her passport, and she now cannot go into multiple very conservative countries because of threats to her life.
Well, to be fair,
I mean, she'd be under, in the first place. He'd be under threat if they went anyways.
No, she wouldn't, because most people, first of all, she was not super out about her transness. Most people never knew at all. And she has gone into these countries numerous of times in the past. She can't anymore at all because of this passport change. That isn't helping trans people. That is fundamentally.
That just seems like a self-inflicted.
But regardless,
how is this self-inflicted at all?
I mean, you're choosing to go to those zones.
She's a war correspondent as her career. Anyway. Yes, she goes to Iraq, but she's always gone to Iraq.
You know, I'll concede this is a lefty position, and it is. I would refer to as I don't know what's the right way to describe this. Farcical, fantastical. I did conflict reporting. I didn't go to any active war zones. I went to civil war and like conflict and crisis and disaster zones. And it was always fascinating to me because of this political correctness reality, especially pertaining to HR and stuff. The story that I usually tell is I was doing what's called heat training. It's redundant. Heat includes the word training. Hostile environment action training. And they couldn't actually tell the women not to go to these zones and prepare them for what happens to women in war zones because they'd get sued if they did. And so someone asked this former MI6 guy, should women who go into conflict zones be concerned about rape? And he went, men get raped. Men get raped. Anyway, so moving on. Because he literally couldn't say, if you're a woman, you go to a war zone, and you're captured, you'll be mercilessly raped and sold into slavery. And if you're a man, you probably won't be.
You'll be killed.
Because if he did, that would be sexual discrimination in a work environment because this is a contracted company for insurance providers and media outlets. He's not allowed to say these things. So stupid. The idea that a trans person thinks they have a right to go to a conflict zone and, oh, heavens me, my passport. Dude, that you die. You go to conflict zones, you assume the risks of who you are and what you are. And this idea that you are entitled to some special privilege to go to a foreign country where you may be killed in any circumstance is laughably insane.
What's the benefit of changing any of these passport things except
in
for
1993, there was a law passed in the United States because forever, when medical testing was done for drugs, they did not do it on women. And so when women would go to the hospital with pain, they'd say, take this painkiller. And the woman would say, it hurts. And they go, women are such fucking babies. And then they were like, hey, maybe drugs work differently on men and women due to physiology. So they passed a law saying from now on, medical research has to be done on both men and women because we are just kind of realizing the drugs work differently on women. So if someone, considering men and women have different organs, quite literally, there's a reason for why we designate your gender
on your passport.
It's an ID.
Why on my passport does it need to say for somebody who in every single way, it's like Blair White,
yeah, sure.
Look at them and say, it looks like a woman.
Are women allowed to walk around outside in Islamic nations? Without a man?
I was going to say with a man and usually covered, yes.
So with a man. So if a female decides to get a visa to...
Do you think that a Blair White could walk around in Islamic countries without a man because they'd be like, well, she's trans? No, of course not.
Of course not.
So the war correspondent is already going...
I think you have a right to subvert the laws of a foreign nation that has invited you into their country.
How is it subverting the laws?
Lying to subvert their laws, which have specific gendered laws. You say, I should have a government document that lies so I can break the law in that country. Is an absurdity.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. The laws that they would be breaking is that if Blair White has M on their passport, I guess Blair should be walking around without head coverings and wearing like keffiyeh and not having a person, which they would kill her for because they would see a woman.
What right do you have to someone else's nation? I don't understand.
This isn't about a right. This is about your own country granting you the ability to exist and perform in the way that every single person is going to treat you.
We're talking specifically about your friend who wants to go to conflict zones in foreign countries and lie to their government to get privy to access.
You have the right to go and do your work.
You do not have a right to someone else's nation. They grant you a privilege to enter under visa.
Sure, but the issue is that you're making it seem like I would grant you that if it was the other nations getting mad at America, being like, put M on trans passports. But that's not what happened. Trump made the decision himself, unrelated to any external pressures. I'm not even sure why.
You said they could be killed.
They could be killed.
Why?
If Blair White...
Would the government take action against this person?
They probably would get in major trouble at the border at all.
Agreed.
They would.
So you're asking the U.S. government to produce a false document to lie to a foreign government so they can get a visa.
Are you saying that it was a false document before, that the government was just lying this entire time?
If you're a man and they put female on your passport, they're lying.
Yeah. Well, if you put gender and put woman... Isn't that fine?
There's no W. It's male or female. Those are sexes. It's biology.
Sure, but couldn't we just update the passport to be gender?
No.
Why not?
Because we're identifying a biological structure of human beings for a purpose, because different laws...
On the passport?
Indeed. It's an ID. And we have international treaties with foreign nations because they have different laws than us. This idea that Americans get to go and do whatever they want whenever they want is so stupid.
That's not what I'm advocating for.
You think an American male should be able to get a passport that says they're a female so they can enter a country where it's illegal and do things that are otherwise illegal?
I think that the idea that, like you were basically saying, that Trump is pro-trans in every way. And I said...
I didn't say he was pro-trans.
You said that he was very
moderate on the issue.
Yeah, exactly. And I said he immediately did something that actually has security and life threats against your civilians. You know what the American government has responsibility for? Protecting its citizens.
What does that have to do with entering a foreign country under sovereign jurisdiction?
Because you're still an American citizen that the government has a procedure to protect.
The issue with having a debate with Tim Pool is that sometimes he come across as being very dull, and it's difficult to have an argument with someone who keeps on changing the goalposts, who keeps on changing the talking points. It's quite difficult to have an argument or to have a debate with that kind of person. Someone who is not going to stick on certain guidelines, but rather just have viewpoints that are all over the place. I have seen people make similar arguments like Tim is doing here. And sometimes it's not like they don't understand what they are saying, but they try to just muddy the waters, just poison the well. They know what they are saying is BS. It has no bearings at all, but they just all over the place and try to cause chaos and confusion with what they say. I have seen this in Africa. I have seen this. What the lady was saying was that there are important issues that are affecting the lives of common Americans, of everyday Americans. And those were the issues that Trump ought to be resolving. Inflation is killing Americans, according to what she was saying. Unemployment might be killing Americans, or low wages might be an issue in America. So Trump should spend most of his time trying to resolve these issues, rather than picking up an issue that has no significant impact on the lives of everyday Americans. Whether trans people have their biological gender or their social gender really doesn't affect anybody. If they are being labeled with the sex they have during birth or the sex they take upon themselves, that doesn't have any effect on the life of other people, does it? Now, I see this argument also being made in Africa, where you see our lawmakers spend taxpayers' money debating whether or not same-sex people should be thrown in prison for eternity. Whether same-sex people should get 20 years in prison for engaging in consensual activities. And to just poison the well, they will use other um, sinister ways to pass those bills in parliament. Not just saying that if two adults are caught engaging in same-sex activities, they will be sent to prison. They will say that if they are caught grooming, if they are caught forcing someone to do things, or if they are having a relationship with someone who is below the consensual age, they will be sent to prison. Minding you that all those things they mention are already criminalized in the country. If you have any sexual relationship with someone of unconsenting age, that is already punishable by law. If you force someone to engage in some activities out of their own willingness, that is also punishable by law. These two things are not related. The fact that you are someone who engages in activities that are considered not mainstream doesn't make you a criminal. The fact that you decided to take another way from what other people are taking doesn't necessarily make you a criminal. But lawmakers wouldn't put everything clearly like this. They will just messy up everything, and they do it on purpose to rally support from the masses behind them. And you will see the masses also being so happy about this. People like Tim will be also happy with about this. And according to them, rounding up same-sex people and just throwing them in the prisons is a huge favor that they are doing to people in society. Because after all, you don't want them to groom your sons, isn't it? You don't want them to groom your sons. You don't want them to turn your sons into girls, isn't it? That is what they will say. As if those people are just out there turning or grooming sons into girls or grooming boys into ladies. As if that was the case. But the way they will make it sound, it will look like that is something that is effectively going on. That's what they will make it look like. Because only by that way will they get the kind of support that they want from the masses. And I ask most people, even people within my own circle, I ask them this question. Let's say they come to your community and they rounded up all same-sex people and they decided to take them all out. How much better would your life become? Would that create the jobs that the youth badly needed? Without pave the road that the citizens badly needed? Without even give us the good governance that we expect from politicians? Will that act fix any of our problems? And the answer to me is a solid no. It would not do us any good. It would not benefit us anything. So why are we cheering for it? Why do we rally in support of something that wouldn't benefit us anything? Why do we think that when same-sex people are being marginalized, are being persecuted, are being subdued, are being tortured and tormented, somehow our own lives are getting better? Why do we think so? is the same thing Trump is doing. You see conservatives very happy. I know people like Matt Walsh are very happy that Trump has decided that people must carry their gender assigned to them during birth or at birth. If you were born with a male organ, you are a male, case closed. And if you were born with a female organ, you are a female, case closed. How does that benefit anyone? That is the question I'm asking you. That is it. But for some reason, we never look at the important things and do them, but rather we like those things that are not important and that do not help us in one way or another. Those are the things we are serious about. And politicians love it. They really, really love it.